All right, so welcome everybody. We're diving deep into one of the, I guess you could say, messiest divorces in Hollywood history.
Yeah,
For Angelina, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
it's been a long one.
You know them.
Yeah.
You love them, or you love to, well, we're not going to speculate, but they finally settled their divorce.
Yes, yes, they did.
8 years
Jeez.
of battling it out.
It's a long time.
We've got an article from DW published, well, as of recording this, yesterday, December 31st, 2024, announcing this.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know about you, but I'm kind of ready to unpack this whole thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think everybody's kind of been waiting to see what happened, with this.
Well, because, I mean, they were like the IT couple for, 12 years?
12 years.
I mean, everybody called them Brangelina, like they were like a single...
And you were a brand.
A brand.
I mean, beyond just, a Hollywood couple.
Right, exactly. Like they adopted children from all over the world,
A modern fairy tale. And
And then, bam.
Yeah.
2016.
In September 2016.
She filed for divorce.
Yeah, and nobody really knew.
What was going on?
Yeah, it was all very hush-hush.
Yeah, it was like they tried to keep it
Wraps.
under wraps for a while.
As much as they could, yeah. I mean, with that level of fame, it's
hard.
Yeah.
But then, like, details started coming out, and it was not pretty.
No, not a clean break.
Not a clean break at all. Like, I remember when they reached a custody agreement in 2018.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, thank goodness. Like, at least that's settled, for the sake of the 6 kids. But then...
Yeah, well, that's just one part of it.
Right. And they weren't even legally divorced until 2019.
And that's one thing that I think a lot of people don't realize. Like, just because a couple's legally divorced, it doesn't mean that
everything's over.
everything's over. Yeah.
That just means you're not married anymore, but you still gotta
figure out who gets what.
figure out all the stuff.
Especially when you're talking about couples like this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with their level of wealth
And all those assets. Like, think about it. Movies.
movies,
Real estate.
real estate investments, businesses.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it can get complicated.
and then they have that winery in France.
Oh, the winery.
Yeah, like that's not just an investment property.
Yeah.
They got married there.
Exactly.
So how do you even begin to put a price tag on that?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting, right?
Okay.
Because you're dealing with
It's sentimental value,
sentimental value, exactly.
but also like what it's actually worth as a business.
As a business, yeah, and like its brand potential.
Right. So it's like way more complicated than just splitting, a house down the middle.
Way more.
Like imagine if you got married in your house.
Uh-huh.
And then like you had to sell the house in the divorce, but you also like had all these memories tied to it. Like
Right.
how could you even put a value on that?
Well, I think with these kinds of cases, they have to bring in like valuation experts.
Yeah, and like brand strategists, maybe even therapists, I don't know,
Wow.
to like really sort through all of
Lawyers?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, remember the Murdoch divorce back in the 90s?
Oh, yeah, with the media empire.
Right. I mean, that was
huge.
It was a mess. It was all tied up with their family history and the company. And I mean,
Wow. So,
it can get very complicated.
so it's not just like, okay, here's half the money, see you later.
No, not at all.
Especially because, on top of all this, Brad Pitt filed a separate lawsuit claiming that Angelina backed out of selling him her half of the winery.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so like, how does this settlement affect that lawsuit?
Well, it's hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible that the settlement has like provisions about the winery,
Uh-huh.
but it's also possible that that lawsuit is going to be treated as a separate legal battle.
Oh, man.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. I mean, it's a relief that they've at least like reached this point in the divorce.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially for the sake of the kids.
Especially for the kids, yeah.
I can't imagine growing up with, your parents' divorce all over the tabloids for 8 years.
Yeah, it's got to be tough.
Right. Like, at what point does it become less about the money and more about, like,
Emotional well-being.
the emotional well-being of everyone involved?
Exactly.
So, like, what does this settlement actually tell us?
Well, I mean, it could be a new chapter for them.
Yeah.
Or it could just be a pause before the next legal battle.
Right.
It's hard to say.
And, I mean, with that winery lawsuit still out there.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how this whole thing influences future celebrity divorces.
Oh, well, that's an interesting point.
Yeah, like how will these kinds of complex assets be handled in the future? Will we see changes in prenups?
Oh, that's a good point.
Because of this case.
It really makes you think, like, What does a fair divorce settlement even look like when you're dealing with this much money and fame?
It's a good question.
And, like, at what point does, trying to get what you deserve
Yeah.
outweigh the potential for, like, lasting damage?
Yeah. I mean, it's something to think about.
Definitely something to think about.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's our deep dive into the Brangelina divorce settlement.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.